You've been coming to the realization that some things are just out of your control and that it might be time to let go of people or experiences or your story, but you're not sure how? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to share with you a nursery rhyme that will simplify this journey and help you see from a very simple concept how you're still holding on and only changing your environment instead of fully letting go of control. Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly Glow Show. Today in our topic, we're going to talk about letting go. A lot of people are coming to the awareness. They're recognizing events, experiences, connections to people as well as with their twin flame are out of control, out of their control. But then it's coming into acceptance of that and being willing and understanding, how can I let go? I know it's my best option, but I don't exactly know how to do that. And I know I got a few comments about that as well from the last couple videos. So this has been also coming up through personal self as well as working with clients. So I knew it was the topic to bring to you, as I usually do in a collective scale this week. So if you're experiencing anything that we talk about here today, please feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear ways that you potentially are learning how to let go, because this is a big deal. We are all going up in our elevation. We're all shifting to new levels. And that means we have to let go of some of the pieces we're holding on to. So let's talk about what are we holding on to for a minute. So we could be holding on to our old patterns. We could be holding on to our stories. We could be holding on to the idea that we don't like change or that we're fearful of the outcomes. And those are some really big ones. But today there are three major letting go things that I really want to talk to you about, because what I'm seeing coming through this timeline of us shifting and changing and opening up new beginnings, it's meaning that we are coming into a place of releasing things to go to the next level. And they might even be things you love at this point. It just doesn't mean it maybe doesn't serve your highest good anymore. And it might be something you actually like, but it's time to let it go. And so as you do this, what I am seeing is the attachment to some of the pieces that is some of the core pieces of letting go here, which is pulling with it some deep anger. And especially when it comes to letting go of the twin flame right now to move forward into your new highest version of you, to the new greatest potential you have. So that's one of the major ones I want to talk about today, is how to let go of your twin in order to get in alignment with yourself. Because when you can let go of everything, but I mean especially your twin flame, it's setting your soul free. And you know, we've all heard that saying, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back to you, it's meant to be. And if they don't, it never was. So, you know, one of the things, I guess, before I go into those things, I feel really guided to share with you that I've been seeing a lot with this anger, and I've been saying these words a lot to people over the last couple of weeks, is stop fighting what you are trying to let go of. So for instance, first of all, if you can come to some awareness of what am I trying to release here, or what do I need to let go of, or even better yet, what am I clinging to? What am I holding on to that I'm resisting this change? Because holding on to our past basically undermines our happiness, our productivity. It holds us back, it blocks us, and it does not allow us to achieve our greatest potential. Or, you know, like, we have to clean things out to open the space for the new, even with the closet. Now, I talk about this And I do this personally every year. And I recently had a client share this with me of cleaning out her closet. And, it also is something I recommend everyone does. And I do this at the beginning of the year, and it can be done any time of the year, but it's a great place to start. It's an opportunity for you to literally practice this and go through everything in your closet. And if you don't love it and it doesn't make you feel good and you're not using it, lose it. Love it, like it, or lose it. Love it, use it, or lose it. That's actually the better term that I should have said there. And so one of the things is, and this, I guess, is what I'm telling you, is you need to come into a place that you accept that everything changes. Things are not going to stay the same. There's going to be evolution within the process of unfolding and moving and going forward. So that, with that being said, change is ever ending. You need to learn that change is a process, that it's not these destinations or these expectations or these conditions that you place on maybe an outcome of something that's blocking you from now being open to receive your lesson. So I want to backtrack one more time because I kind of went around the block of what the point I was trying to make. And it's a very important one. And that is, stop trying to resist your pain or your anger or where you're at. Because trying to let go when you're trying to make yourself let go is actually counterproductive, because then you're trying to still be in control of letting go of control. And I'm going to share with you a very simple story of a writing that I did for a client close to a couple years ago now, that when she was having a lot of trouble letting go of her twin, I asked guidance to show me how I could help her go to the next level in her letting go. In doing so, I wrote a nursery rhyme. Really, it was the Dr. Seuss book. I happened to be in the dentist around the time, just before her next session, but it was after the session we had before, where it was a lot of resistance to letting her twin go. And I had ran across a book by Dr. Seuss called A Fish Out of Water. And there was something in that book that really went ding, 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 ding. And to the point where I didn't even get a chance to look at it while I was there, but I had to go back. So I asked them to borrow the book. And I borrowed the book and took it home, read it, because my son had all those when he was young. And so it was like from his higher self in the timeline, he was pointing me to all these codes that I was waking up to. And he's a twin flame. So from the higher self, he was helping me come into some awarenesses. And this just happened to be one of them. It's super cool. And I wrote the story to Fish Out of Water. And it had to do with Stop Chasing Nemo, which is what we clarified that for her and her twin. And I'm going to read that story for you today. I've actually read it right after around the time frame that was back whenever I wrote it and I was recording. But it's been a while, and there's been a lot of new viewers. And if you've heard it, it's time to hear it again. Because what tends to happen is a lot of times you try to change your environment to match or to change, and preventing the change. So you create a controlled environment in your change that's still protecting you, that's still blocking you from coming on out and fully letting go. You're just changing the container, and I'll share that in a minute, that concept, like I said. So when you can start to recognize that you're willing to move beyond control and accept and take responsibility for your own choices, your own life, and that letting go is kind of your best option. And then I'm going to give you some reflection questions kind of at the end of this that you can use to ask yourself or to practice this form of letting go. Number one, it's not on that list, but if you haven't cleaned out your closet lately, it's a perfect place to start. It will shift and change energy, and that transformation that you're making in your closet and that you're going through physically in the 3D, you will have all these breakthroughs that come through in other areas of your life just from that simple lesson alone. But take on the mindset that I choose to transform my intentions regarding all of my relationships with others, including, the twin flame and all relationships, with the idea that you care more about their well-being than maybe that they make you feel like that you do. Sometimes, I guess, what part of like what I'm saying in this is you tend to give more of yourself to these people because you're feeling like you're trying to meet their needs, and you are trying to come like from a place of twin flame world. We're unconditional hearts, so we start to give ourselves away. And you have the feeling or the projection that they might need something that you, in that form of control, need to give or need to assist with. But then when you give it or you assist with it, you're more concerned about their well-being and how they may feel than they may be. You may see what they need more than they see what they need. Therefore, all of the stuff you're projecting onto them tends to be your own setting yourself up for rejection and setting them up to fail to comply with something because you set an expectation in return from your codependencies, your abandonment, and the things that you project onto them that you think is missing and that they need, and you're going to fulfill it, and then it doesn't come into play at the end of that they even knew they needed it. And so you end up walking out of that feeling rejected because you gave and now you're resentful of what happened. Okay? I know it took me a minute to get that out, but I hope you understand what I'm saying in that. So in this process of letting go, another really key factor is trying to examine your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and what are you trying to hold on to? What are you trying to let go of? What is holding you back? And to come to the realization that managing these things is exhausting, and that, you know, letting go of the management sometimes, especially managing other people and their life. You got your own closet to clean out, right? So start focusing on your own closet. And, you know, I looked up, you know, just because everyone talks about, you know, letting go and letting go and letting go, and it's resistance and it's resistance to change and all of these things. But I had the desire just before this recording to look it up in the Webster Dictionary, and it said that letting go is a form of holding on to, clinging or gripping onto someone or something. So when it comes to letting go, I think first of all, there's a process of like you identifying what I need to let go of. So when you feel the resistance, you really need to ask yourself that question to come up with like getting clear before you go into the sabotage mode and the control mode, one or the other. You're either trying to still control the conditioning or the environment or the responses to these situations, or you are coming into a place of, you know, feeling that rejection, or you're trying to hold on and then beat yourself up because of the fact that you're trying to cut off an arm, okay? And you might need the arm, but why is the arm hurting? You don't, just because the arm hurts doesn't mean that, you know, you need to cut it off. You need to identify why there's pain and why does the arm hurt, and get more to the root of the problem. And then, is it coming from the arm, or as a chiropractor here, is it coming from the neck? Identifying the root of that. And so stop and identify, where is this coming from? What do I need to, what am I resisting? You know, what am I clinging to? And I've had these questions come up for clients over the last couple weeks too, and a lot of this evolution of change and going forward and expansion and being held back and holding themselves back because at the another way to put letting go has to do with, but when we learn how to let go, it's really just allowing life to take us in a new place, on a new journey, connecting to a deeper, more true, authentic self and version of who we are. So, all right, now I wanted to get a little bit more specific on the like 3 real areas that I think is going to be important to let go of in this timeline based on where the energy is for the collective based on the changes that we've been going through for this new earth, the new beginning. And it means it's being called up, and it's being called that there's a lot of specific things being let go of. And number one is the twin flame. And I'm going to read you my little story about Stop Chasing Nemo kind of when I finish this. But the bottom line is it's exhausting. And it will create resentment, and you have set them up to fulfill something within you that you feel that they can like fill in you, and creating that void. And it can only come from within. So you will only find that love within that you're searching. And we all know that. But of course, that's easier said than done. So I feel like at the minute, my story really is going to help you see the bigger picture of that in a very kid-like manner. Because, see, that's the other thing with this. Sometimes this stuff is so simple that we make it hard and we get in the way. But we can, like, take it down a little bit and present this in the format of for a child. It's that simple. Okay, and we just can't see it that simple. We can't even see for ourselves, you know, we get in the way of trying to fix it all. Or, you know, like, for instance, let's just say, okay, I know I need to let go of that. I know I need to move on. I know that I'm clinging to something, and I might even have an idea of what it is. But now tell me what I got to do to get to let it go. And I want to know steps A, B, C, D, because then I'll know how to do that, along with each one having 1, 2, 3. And when you give me the formula and you give me the plan, I'm going to get it done. But the problem is we're implementing the new ways. That way won't work anymore. You have to let go of that way. And that meaning like, okay, well, if I'm angry because I'm feeling resentment, what if I tried at this moment in this new energy to honor it and say, it's okay to be angry? You know, I've been saying that for a while, and I was even put to the test over the weekend with being in a store and a situation of having to speak up, stand my truth, and actually get a little bit angry that I'm in a line that's being backed up, and these people behind me are going over to the next, and they weren't going to take more because I was going to go, and he looks at me and says, no, I'm only taking one. So then whenever he got done with the one, he took the one behind me. So then I go over and I actually say something. You know, and it's about me finally for once standing up for me and creating a little justice. And then he's like, no, I can't because I have to go. I don't have time. So then I end up going to the guy that's, you know, taking forever to get, you know, this checked out. And this person in front of me checked out, actually 2 prior. And he's like, getting a little sassy there, aren't we? And I'm like, well, yeah, because I've kept my mouth shut most of my whole life. And my new lessons are to speak up for something that's not exactly right, or, you know, if my needs aren't getting met, like, and, you know, and I wasn't rude. I was to the point, and I was, you know, I knew it was a lesson. Like, I knew it was a lesson. And I had my daughter and my granddaughter with me. And, you know, that also triggered then, you know, it was coming before I even went through this line. I started feeling this thing of like, you know, oh my God, I got to get out of here. Like, I've had enough. And I think some of that is because I stay in my little world all the time. I'm not in a weekend public place for very long at a time sometimes. And I also think there was something in me brewing, and it was already concocted to go through this release. So, you know, I walked through some of this over the weekend and yesterday, what I'm sharing with you, and I saw this with everyone else. So again, you might be feeling this release. And the release in it is like, I want to describe the energy in it. It's like Pele from the volcano eruption in Hawaii, or Cowley. You know, like that energy that's coming from this really deep, rejected sense of pain and abandonment and anger, okay? Now, that's where I'm trying to tell you. Even for myself, I have spent most of my life, never knew what that felt like to be angry because I just didn't allow it. But now in the new me and the new beginning, it's like saying, okay, you're a little angry? That's okay. Don't fight it. And then when you stop resisting it, it will just go away. So that's what I was telling you. You stop trying to force yourself to figure out how. It will just come up and out through you, because as it's coming up, you're then hanging on to it. And so this leads me into my number 2 thing I wanted to say is letting go of your stories, or stop changing, your dimensions of your fish tank. And you're feeling that resentment, let's say for instance, with your twin, and you're coming into a place of maybe giving too much love, or trying to be the fixer, or trying to help them heal, trying to help them clear their addictions, trying to help them clear their own energy. Now you need to stay focused on you and your path and your lane, and pay attention to your own mistakes and clean out your own closet, and stop over giving yourself away from feeding him, because that is only robbing you of your energy that you need to stay empowered with, and then it's putting you into a place of your resentment, because you're not getting back, like I said earlier, what you expected in the projection of what you thought you should get back in return. The third thing that's very important for you to think about letting go in this energy, in this new timeline, is letting go of the idea that love has to be painful, because love hurts. And we've held on to this idea and this concept for way too long that love hurts. And it's, and the sad love songs, and that, everybody's got the love song, the sad love song. And so it's time to let go of these highs and lows. It's the highs and lows of the addiction of the boost between being low to getting high. And it's like a drug. So I don't know if any of you have ever been in your twin can be this, but it doesn't have to be a twin. It can be even a karmic partner do this. That it's like a relationship can be like a drug of choice, like being a person can be, because they're fulfilling a codependency. You're creating the addiction to the high and the low. And so you letting go of the idea that love has to hurt will be very important for you as you go forward in this new energy. I'm going to recap these things. You need to make a decision to choose to go forward and let go of your twin and stop chasing Nemo. That will make more sense when I read you the story. You need to let go of your story. And in that, when you're faced with anger and you're faced with fears and you're faced with resentment or change, you need to take a step back and say, what am I holding on to? What is my resistance here? And then honor the pain, honor the resentment, connect to it, stop fighting it, allow it to kind of come through you. And that's going to open you up to the possibilities of even change, because even in this, as we recreate these new identities for ourselves, there's change happening through this process within ourselves. There's enough change going on inside and around us, let alone all of the pieces that we tie ourselves to in other dimensions and realities, which, by the way, I do have a video that will be coming talking about jumping timelines, other dimensions, other realities, and explaining that in a little bit more educational detail. But, okay, so I want to then, share with you now, the third thing on that, though, just real quick, was letting go of the idea that love has to be painful. And so what I want to do now is share my Stop Chasing Nemo story by Dr. Seuss of Two Fish Out of Water, my version for you. So you can see what it means to let go of your twin flame, since that is a big one that I said I want you to focus on in this timeline right now, so you can go ahead and let go and connect to the highest version of you, and to be able to maybe get this another way, in a simpler way, to really hit home the idea of what you're doing by hanging on to your beloved, okay? So, Two Fish Out of Water by Dr. Harmony. Once there was a little girl that went to the fish store, and she saw what she thought to be the perfect, most beautiful tropical glowfish. I want that one, she exclaimed with glee. The fish looked back at her with big, eager eyes. It was love at first sight, and he showed her the kind of love that she had never known before. I will call you Prince Charming, she said. "What a great choice," stated the attendant at the pet store. "I just have some very important advice to share with you. I would recommend that you do not overfeed him. Only just a little at a time will do. Otherwise, if you overfeed him, it could create many issues." "That is good advice," stated the little girl. "I will take good care of him." She made it her mission to take excellent care by loving and taking care and feeding her Prince Charming, to give him everything that she thought he would ever want. So she began to give and give all the food of life that she thought that he needed. And as she did, he wanted more. And the more he wanted, the more she gave him. She knew what the clerk had said, but she felt so bad for her prince that it made her want to continue to give him everything. So she gave him all that she had. It was not long until her Prince Charming started feeling constricted in the little bowl. And so she decided it was time to give him more space. And so she put him in a bigger bowl. "This will do," she explained excitedly. Her prince continued to eat all the food that she gave him. And before long, he began to outgrow, and he even needed a bigger bowl. In fact, his tail began to stick out the top of the water in the bowl. "Oh," said the little girl, "I better get a bigger container. How about a huge flower pot?" So she transferred her prince into the large flower pot. As she continued to feed her Prince Charming, and he continued to grow, she finally ran out of containers large enough for her Prince Charming to fit into. So she decided, okay, I'm going to really open up your space and freedom here. I'm going to put you in the bathtub. And wow, this is going to do the trick, because she just knew this was going to give him all the space he needed to explore. So then, "My prince is going to live happily ever after," she exclaimed. And so she continued to nurture him, feed him all the things, and he continued to grow and grow and grow. And it was not long until, before long, he started feeling constricted, confined, and was having trouble breathing because he could no longer fit into the tub. So she thought, well, I'll just turn on the shower, and I'll shower him with all the beauty and all of the love that I have to give. I know my prince will like this because I'm taking really good care of him, and no one could take care of him in the way I am. It was not long until the tub overfilled and the bathroom became flooded. And so the little girl looked around in amazement because she realized that she was swimming and swimming and swimming around and around in the bathroom. And so long that it became that she got exhausted. And if she did not do something different, she would run out of energy and she could potentially drown. But every time she had this thought, she remembered how much she loved her Prince Charming and how worth it was to feed him all of the love and all of the food that she projected on him that she thought he needed, which was really only everything that she wanted herself, but she was not getting in the process. She began to get more and more tired because she was giving away herself and getting nothing in return. She was feeling that all her food, and feeding all of her own food, I should say, was giving it to her prince. And her prince was so constricted all the time in his environment that he could not give her anything in return because he was spending all of his time trying just to breathe. And he was starting to feel like he was fighting for his life. But this didn't matter to the little girl because she was bound and determined that she was going to make sure that she could do whatever it took in order to make sure that her prince had enough water and enough food and enough love that would keep him breathing no matter what. So after a little while, he felt like he was suffocating. Before long, the little girl even realized it, and she continued to shower her prince with love and she was not paying attention to what was going on around her inside of the house. The whole room became flooded. And then all of a sudden, the floor gave way because there was so much water. And it ended up that her and the prince were in the basement. And all of a sudden, she realized we're in some really deep water here. And I think I need help. I don't even know what to do. And so she no longer was able to move her prince around because he was too heavy, first of all. And she was so exhausted she couldn't do it anymore. And so she was no longer able to give him the space he needed. She was no longer able to feed him. And in this big trouble that they became into, her prince could no longer breathe. And so it caused so much distress and so much severe distress that she cried out for help. And she screamed, "I can't do it anymore. And so I just can't do this. No more. No more," she cried. So she called on her angels and she said, "Will you please help him? Can you help me be able to do what I need to do so we can help him so that he can find a bigger place to swim, so that he can have enough food, so he can have enough life, and so I can even have the energy to continue to feed him, to continue to monitor him, continue to pay attention to his needs rather than my own." And so the angels tried to help her, but she was not listening. She couldn't hear them because she was so busy continuing to focus on the needs of her prince in the middle of her inability to even take care of her own self. And so then she began to blame her angels because she said, "I'm asking for help and you're not helping me. You're not providing me with a big enough space. You're not providing me with the food and the love that I need to be able to continue to feed him. And therefore he can't breathe. And it's my fault. And it's not even my fault. It's your fault." And so before long, she realized after all of this, how exhausted she finally was. And that she realized she could no longer just keep checking up on him and figuring out what his needs were, because she was in the place of about to drown in this pool of water herself. So at this time in this place, she came into a place of not seeing him anymore because the water had gotten so high and she was in so much struggle and she was in so much distress that she couldn't even see him. She didn't know where he even went. And so she starts yelling, Prince Charming, where are you?" And in complete silence, the pool of water was completely still. And so she sat down on a diving board looking down as she began to search in the water for the prince and trying to decide how she was going to have enough energy to dive into the water to save him, to find him, because he can't breathe. He's underwater now. He can't breathe. And then she heard a little whisper, and it was her angel. And her angel said, "I can hear you. I hear you." But the little girl was listening to the rain. It started to rain. And as the rain started to come and the rain was on its way, she all of a sudden realized, wow, here comes a way to give my fish more water, to be able to have a bigger place for him to receive water. But where is this rain coming from? So as she sit there in the tears and in the waves of this tide and hearing this rain and the angel then whispered, "Your prince is in the deep blue sea and he will return again. And all you have to do is believe and trust, because he will come back to you. He'll be able to swim back. He will find his way back. All you have to do is be silent, be patient, and to be still. And he is going to be well taken care of, because this rain is going to give him all of the space he needs to still have more room to swim." And so that night she fell asleep. And in the sleep, she had a dream. And in the dream, she felt all of a sudden she could see her prince, and she felt him, and she knew it was like he was returning. And so it woke her up as she cried out in her sleep that she was saying, oh my gosh, like, where are you? And then all of a sudden she heard a voice, and it was her prince. And her prince had came up out of the water. And in that moment, he said, I'm right here. I'm right here. And so she says when that she realized that she let go, that and the rain would come, the rain would take care of him. But she had to wake up to the idea that only she could be happy with herself. Only she could have a beautiful dream. And in that dream, that she heard her prince say to her, thank you. Thank you for taking care of me. You were by my side the whole time, but you were too busy trying to feed me. You were too busy with the details that you weren't even able to see what I really needed, and that was to have fun with you. And so finally now we're able to reunite. We're able to come into a place that there's enough water here, we can both swim. You can let go. You can trust the process. You no longer have to feed me. Everything I needed is already here. And it's always been here all along. You just had to let go and realize. So in as simple as an idea as that is, as far as letting go and realizing you don't have to contain the environment of your twin to like let him go or her go, in a way that you got to control the environment and give to make it where you're giving more of yourself away and not realizing you think you're letting go, but you're really only still controlling the environment. But that means in the end, you're even giving more away, more of yourself, more of the love that's not coming back in return to you, which is creating more frustration, more anger, more rejection. Is creating a bigger expectation, and you haven't fully surrendered the outcome. But as you go into this new evolution of yourself and you really claim that letting go and realize that that letting go is just a process, and that it's these small issues that will train you to handle bigger challenges. And that as you do learn to follow your heart, that you are able to create more open space for new opportunities to come in as you begin to move into a bigger, better, brighter future. And so I want to leave you with 3 reflection questions. And the first reflection question is, what is one possession that I have that means something really big to me that I can give away today? So that you can start practicing the principles of letting go of the attachment to something that you're placing this monetary value on it, or let's even say, the memory. Sometimes the memories we hang on to, or the sentimental value. I wrote a quote a while ago that says, letting go does not mean that you stop caring. Letting go does not mean that you stop caring. And somehow, as I was saying earlier on in this, that you have the thought that if you let go, they're going to take it on as you don't care about them because you've let go. And that is not the truth. Letting go means that you fully do care. And not only are you not enabling them anymore, but you're showing those around you that when you love yourself enough to let go of handling things and to start managing your own self, other people are going to see the power in you that creates, and now they're going to want what you have, and now you will get what you want from other people. Number 2 is how do I want to say this? How can I be content with where I am in this present moment at this given time? Not where I've been, not where I'm going. How can I get present? How can I be content in my present moment? So what can you let go of in a possession today? What do you need to do? How can you be content where you are? And the third thing is to ask yourself, why does letting go prepare me to receive more? Why does letting go prepare me for receiving more? So, that could be a different answer for many people on all of these three questions. So I would like for you to take the opportunity to reflect on that, reflect on this letting go, and to realize it is a process. And in the process, maybe just part of your solution is to stop fighting the process. Okay? And, the little Nemo story was a process of changing the tanks and evolving and trying to be the fixer, and all of the pieces that you gave yourself away and created the exhaustion. And at the end of the day, it's time to take care of you. It's time to feed yourself. It's time to take your own bath. And it's time to cleanse and purify your soul. Open your heart to receive your greatest blessings so that you can live your best life, because you have a future that is brighter than you can see. You just have to believe. You have to show up in a place of allowing, and everything you seek is seeking you and on its way as you let go and create the space to align with your vibration, to raise it and tap in to your greatest, highest potential. So make sure you like, comment, share the shine. Make sure that you check out all my free resources below that can help you learn to let go, raise your frequency, align with your purpose and your mission. I've got some really cool resources that can help you through this process of letting go. Much love to you, and may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.